What's going on, everyone? Thanks for checking out this Fallout 76 video. This is going to be a start to a new series where I'll be reviewing the unique legendary weapons that we can get from the weekly weapon challenge. In case you didn't know, each week we have a chance at getting a unique weapon from survival mode. And since there are a lot of players that don't enjoy going into survival mode because they're afraid of losing a lot of things, I'll be showing how to complete each step within the challenge without having to really go into survival all that much. I know in order to complete these, we're going to have to be in survival, but technically we can do things in adventure and then go into that game mode to complete these little challenges that we have to do to get this unique weapon. Like I mentioned before, this weapon is called the Quick Fix. This is a 3-star switchblade that can actually deal out a lot of damage extremely fast. The only downfall is you're going to have a good damage resistance build to play it safe, because after all, this weapon is a switchblade, so you're going to have to get extremely close to the enemies to even be able to do damage to them. Okay, as for the perks on the Quick Fix, it comes with more damage the more your withdrawal effects, 40% swing speed, and +1 endurance. And for the item stats, for my character, I had a base damage of 84, and the speed was fast with the weight of 1.2 and the value of 23. Now keep in mind the damage could be different for you. Speaking of the damage, if you are considering about using this weapon and you want to get it higher, I managed to get mine all the way up to 218, as you can see. And seeing how fast this thing swings, that's a lot of damage dealt really fast. But like I was mentioning before, you're going to have a good damage resistance build to survive. Because if you want that kind of damage, you're going to have low enough health for Nerd Rage to proc. And not to mention you're going to have to be using a Fury, a Glowing Meat Steak, different things that will help boost your damage within the aid category. As for the perk cards, if you're wanting to increase your damage with this weapon, I always suggest using the Gladiator perk cards within the strength category, as well as Incisor or martial artist, depending on whether you want to swing faster or you're going up against something that may have some tough armor, and using Incisor would be easier to take out that opponent, such as like a robot or something. Overall, is this weapon truly worth it though to grind for? I'd have to say no. This took me a while to grind for, and this is a weekly challenge, so it makes sense why it did take me so long to grind for it. And when I got it, I was highly disappointed. Don't get me wrong, it can be a decent weapon, as I just showed you. I got it up to 218 damage, and it has an extremely fast swing speed. Like, I haven't experienced a weapon that swings as fast as this. Sheesh. And also keep in mind, the only reason why I had that amount of damage is because I used a lot of things to increase it, like I mentioned before in the aid category. And I had Nerd Rage procced, all the Gladiator perk cards on. Anyways, as for the perks, starting with the withdrawal effects that'll increase their damage, in my opinion, that doesn't really increase your damage all that much. Also, you're going to have withdrawal effects. That's a negative effect on your character. I don't think it's really worth that for a little bit of extra damage. And for the faster swing speed, that's awesome that it has it, but you can already have just as fast of a swing speed on a regular old switchblade by just using the martial artist perk card. So that really didn't stand out to me either. And as for the +1 endurance, I mean, that's cool and all, but it's not all that beneficial. So overall, once again, I don't suggest taking your time out of your day to grind for this. Then again, if you're a huge fan of switchblades, well, here you go, have at it. Take the time. I mean, after all, it's all up to you. It just can take a lot of time to grind for. As you can see, we're going to have to collect 250 water. And to do this, a fast way is just go to a stream of some sort and spam out the collect button 250 times. Sure, it's simple. It's just very time consuming. And as we know, time is important, especially if we grind for something that we didn't even want in the end, like what happened to me. I didn't want this switchblade. That's why I'm sharing it with you all, to warn you guys that this isn't really worth it to grind for. Unless you're just a huge fan of switchblades and you got a good build idea for this. Or you're just a collector and like collecting them, and you're going to try to collect every single unique legendary weapon that enters into the game. And if that's the case, hey, do you. I'm not hating. I'm pretty much going to be doing that myself. Anyways, we're also going to have to collect wood, which this took the longest out of them all, believe it or not, because I don't know if this is just some kind of bug in the game, but I had to literally go up to 250 things to give me wood. Like, Even if it said it gave me 12 wood, it still showed that I only went up 1 in the challenge. So I had to literally go find wood piles and logs and whatnot until I went up to 250 of them. Once again, I don't know if this is just some kind of bug or this is just how it's supposed to be. If this is how it's supposed to be, I mean, it makes sense then. They made this a grind to get. Whew, it took a while. Then again, this is supposed to be done in a week, and I challenged myself to complete it in about a day. So I guess it makes sense why that was such a grind. Anyways, we also had to eat 50 raw meats. And I just went to an area that I knew there were animals at in adventure mode. And then I went over to survival mode and ate that raw meat. I mean, all in all, you could just do all of this in survival if you really wanted to. But once again, if you want to play it safe, just go in adventure, get the raw meat that you need, and then head on over to survival. That's a tactic that you can use to your advantage. And lastly, to complete this weapon challenge, we're going to have to craft 20 healing salves. Now, you can collect the ingredients before you go into survival. In case you don't know where bloodleaf are located, you can find quite a bit over at Toxic Dried Lake. And as for the other ingredient that you may be unfamiliar with, soot flower, that can be found around in the forest region. But yeah, I guess I'll start wrapping up this first weapon challenge review. I'll be continuing to do this guide throughout the weeks to keep you guys posted of what we can obtain, just so y'all don't have to waste your time grinding. I'll let you know if it's really worth it or not. And also, of course, you don't have to take my advice. You can just check out the gameplay, and if you like the gameplay, then go ahead and go for it. I mean, after all, it is all up to you. I'm just giving out my opinion of what I thought of the unique weapon. I'm Avery to everybody. Thanks for taking the time to watch and listen. Until next time, peace.